Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me for another Alfred Hitchcock Presents review. Today I will be talking about Season 2, Episode 16, Nightmare in 4D, starring Henry Jones as Harry Parker and Barbara Baxley as Miss Elliot. And in my opinion, this is just an average, watchable episode. There's some good things about it. The acting is pretty good. The episode is amusing at times, and it's pretty fast-paced as well for the most part. Unfortunately, the character motivations seem kind of shaky in this episode, and there's no really interesting twist to this episode either. The ending is somewhat straightforward and kind of predictable as well. So, kind of a mixed bag on this episode, in my opinion. So, we start out with our main character, Harry, and he sees a lady named Miss Elliot that he seems to like a lot. He helps her with her bags, and she's some type of performer. She's going to be in a new show. And you can tell that Harry is really into her quite a bit. And he goes back to his apartment at this point after helping her, and he talks to his wife. And she's kind of an interesting character in this episode. But Harry's mind really isn't on his wife. His mind is on two things. One is his book that he likes to read, and the other is definitely Miss Elliot. So at this point, Harry wakes up after having a nightmare, a bad dream. I guess he has dreams based on the books that he reads, according to his wife. So he decides he's going to go in the other room and watch a movie. And things seem to be going okay till Miss Elliot comes by and basically tells Harry that she needs his help. We're not sure why yet. So they go to her apartment, and it turns out that there's a dead body there. It turns out that Miss Elliot says all she knows is that she heard a shot outside. She was rehearsing with some other guy from the apartment, and when this happened, and she's not really sure who did it or how it happened. So, it seems kind of suspicious at this point. Harry's reluctant to help her. She wants help moving the body. But ultimately, Miss Elliot's pretty persuasive, and he decides he will. And eventually, they get the body down to the basement after kind of a strange scene where Harry really has a hard time moving this body. It was played kind of for humor. The music was very interesting in this scene, and it worked for the most part. So basically, at this point, they leave. But Harry realizes he left a piece of his robe down there, I think it was. It wasn't 100% clear to me until his wife brought it up later in the episode. So he goes back and grabs that and leaves. So at this point, we go to the next day, and probably my favorite scene of the episode. It's morning, and Harry's babbling something when he wakes up. Of course, his wife thinks he's dreaming when he tells her the whole story, even though he's very upset about it. And in an odd twist, it seems like his evidence doesn't match up, as it seems like his robe that he was wearing is completely intact. So at this point, Harry's not sure now if the events of the night before really happened or not, which seems a little bit hard to believe, but I guess you just gotta kind of go with it. So he goes down to the basement to check on the body, but it turns out there's already a lieutenant there, and this guy's a pretty interesting character. The lieutenant tells him that he already found a body. They have a little chat. Eventually, they go to talk to Miss Elliot as well, and the lieutenant naturally questions both of them. And kind of in a surprising move, Harry admits that he moved the body, maybe to take suspicion off himself as the killer. Kind of an interesting move there, but it turns out he could still have some trouble even if he didn't commit this crime, because it could be considered tampering with evidence, which kind of makes sense here. So at this point, Harry goes back home, and his wife doesn't seem amused by any of this, but she's also acting kind of strangely. It turns out she had a connection with the victim. She was seeing him in some capacity. It's not really made clear how far this went. So she says that her reasoning is that she's very upset that her husband hasn't been paying attention to her. He's been giving all his attention to Miss Elliot. So at this point, it looks like the wife might be the killer, but the lieutenant already has it figured out. He definitely suspects Harry, and then he basically explains to us, the audience, everything that happened and why Harry must be the killer. The issue with this is kind of the character motivation. It's established that Harry likes Miss Elliot, but we're never really shown as a viewer why he would like her this much to go through all this trouble and commit this murder. But it's fine, it's an entertaining episode, and even though the ending is kind of predictable, not every episode has to have a great twist. I just wish that the character motivations and some of the plotting was a little more solid. But overall, Nightmare in 4D is a watchable fast-paced episode, and I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. And I would say this one is okay to watch if you want to, but it's not essential. So 2.5 out of 5 for Nightmare in 4D. And as always, thank you very much for watching.